Lost city of Antarctica. Shock claims massive civilization exists beneath mile of ice. We've covered the hollow earth theory before. Antarctica is hiding a huge city underneath more than a mile of ice, according to incredible claims by supposed scientists. The icy mass, measuring over 14 million kilometers squared, has long been a source of great mystery, and was the last continent of the world to be discovered. But its freezing temperatures and barren landscape have stopped people from ever attempting to colonize it, so has remained virtually untouched over the years. However, this may not actually be the case. A scientific theory known as crustal displacement means that thousands of years ago the icy tundra may have been home to an ancient and mysterious civilization. Professor Charles A. Hapgood, a history expert from the U.S., first published a paper in the 1950s that said movement in the Earth's crust meant that only 11,600 years ago, large parts of Antarctica were totally ice-free. First of all, we're going to take this controversial year, 11,000 years ago, out of it, because guess what? Large parts of Antarctica were totally ice-free. Well, wait a minute. The climate change theory says that the ice caps are melting, mankind is causing it, and so on and so forth. But long, long ago, the North Pole and the South Pole were ice-free. Interesting, wouldn't you say? Now, we've talked about our post on this particular subject before. Long, long ago, the North Pole had no ice in the summertime, according to geo-scientists. What if someone told you that long ago the North Pole had no ice during the summertime? What would you say to that person? Would you call them crazy, or would you investigate further? Just a minute. According to an international team of geoscientists from Alfred Wegener Institute Helmholtz Center for Polar and Marine Research, the North Pole hence had no ice in the summertime. The North Pole, which is one of the strangest places on Earth to this day, and vastly still unknown, has secrets within its sediment. Inside of the sediment lies the possibilities that life could have once existed there. Examining the research that until extremely recently was unknown provides the world with a few key points. 1. Global warming is a man-made hoax. 2. Climate change has been going on way before the Industrial Revolution. And 3. The possibility of a hollow Earth just became a very plausible reality. The argument regarding global warming and climate change is that mankind is causing this distress on the Earth, when in reality it is just the Earth itself that changes, further proving the fact that the United Nations 2030 agenda is about nothing more than total control of this planet, because once they control the climate, they control everything. Now, of course, this interesting story here, the sediment core emerges. This is when they took it out. The researchers took it out of the ice. Basically, what they discovered was that there was no ice in the summer times of the North Pole. Now again, as we can see here, we are seeing that apparently the South Pole has something similar. Professor Charles A. Hapgood, a history expert from the U.S., first published a paper in the 1950s that said movement in the Earth's crust meant that only 11,000... This is the question here, 11,000 years ago. That's if you're on the evolutionary timeline, when we are on the creation timeline, because God made the Earth, God made the universe, God made man. Large parts of Antarctica were totally ice-free. He said evidence of this was in the 500-year-old Piri Reis map, a world map drawn up by the Ottoman admiral of the same name. A number of scholars who have examined the map claim it clearly shows the west coast of Africa, the east coast of South America, and the northern coast of Antarctica, but not covered in ice, in ice sheets, and ice. Just what? That's got to be shocking to you, right? But it shouldn't be, because there are civilizations that thrived there, and history, real history, not the stuff we're told in school, proves it. U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Harold Z. Olmeyer sent a letter in 1960 to Professor Hapgood saying his theory on the Piri Reis map was correct. My God, the U.S. Air Force knows. What? No way. We haven't been lied to. The U.S. government, folks, knows for a fact, because of this letter here, this indicates the coastline had been mapped before it was covered by the ice cap. Guess what that proves? That the polar ice caps are moving. The ice cap in this region is now about a mile thick. Conspiracists now think Hapgood was right, and he discovered that much of the South Pole was ice-free. And also the location of the lost city of Atlantis. I disagree with this. The existence of this mythical utopia was first mentioned in the writings by ancient Greek philosopher Plato in 360 BC. The Atlantis that Plato described was founded by people who were half god and half human, around 9,000 years ago, before his own time. Maybe not 9,000 years, but of course the time of the Nephilim, the time of the giants, which God destroyed with the flood. If it did exist, this would be at a similar time that Professor Hapgood said shifts had occurred in the Earth's crust. Now, wait a minute. Just recently, they discovered a whole bunch of water underneath the U.S., underneath Siberia. I believe that was the other place. Don't quote me on it. But vast oceans were discovered underneath our Earth. And in fact, they have absolutely no idea what is underneath the crust of the Earth. But now, new theories and new science is putting it that there is oceans, there's water under there, bigger than our oceans. This further proves the Bible. It also further proves that Atlantis was potentially a place of the Nephilim. Very interesting that long ago, folks, the South Pole didn't have ice in the summertime, wouldn't you say? Oh my goodness, run back and forth like a chicken with your head cut off because the polar caps are melting. What can we do? What can we do? It's happened before. And of course, the last time it happened just so happened to be the same time that the giants, the Nephilim, the creatures of the abyss, walked the earth. So the question I have for you is, the lost city of Antarctica. About the time that they reveal more of the truth about Antarctica, is that the time we're also going to get a quote-unquote alien disclosure, or a Nephilim disclosure, as we should be calling it? Because aliens do not exist. The UFO that a lot of people are chasing is a government conspiracy. Look up William Cooper. He'll prove that to you. He's dead, but he'll prove it to you. Now, are we about to witness a Nephilim disclosure? Because they've all been pushing things, invasive species, especially Obama's latest executive orders we just recently covered. But there's something strange going on. That's a fact. They're also concerned taking strange and secret trips to the poles. They're all so concerned about it. What do they know that they are not telling us? Or what are we being lied to about? It's time we start asking more questions. That's all I've got for you. God bless and carry on.